Welcome to the Unrealistic Podcast, Unrealistic Box Podcast. We talk about unrealistic dreams, quote unquote, but realistic, methods. And I asked you here because you're such a genuine person. I've never had a conversation and not laugh with you or smile or left feeling better about myself. But you're true. You're nice. And I appreciate that. My name, for those who don't know by now, is Laura Griffiths. I'm one of the hosts.
And Kimberly Allen.
Yes, and we are here talking today, as I said before, with the beautiful, the royal Leonie Smith. All right? And let's start off nice and simple. Tell us about this queen. What is she doing? How is life going? Little stuff like that.
Life has been interesting. I can't think of another word to say it. But what's interesting about it is just that at this stage of my life, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I love to do. And so I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose. So
we know what our purpose is.
Yes. I mean, my purpose has always been to be an educator. And I've gone through everything, I think, that has led up to this year, because especially this year, so many opportunities have opened up, and I'm just really basking in it all.
You better. So what is it that we like to do?
I love education.
Education.
Yes.
So we have our degree in education?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's in education.
Where we studied?
Vocational education and training, UTech.
Okay.
And then I just finished my master's last year in education, innovation in learning and teaching.
Nice.
So, yes.
Congratulations. How long it took?
It took, call it 2 years, 18 months. It felt like an eternity, but yeah, man, that dissertation was, yeah. So no PhD coming.
Why not? We don't know.
You know that
I want to say Dr. Smith.
TikTok video when they say, show the thing that's almost killed you. I'll show you my dissertation.
The master. Jesus, close. All right, fair enough. So, do we have any hobbies that we like to do on the side?
Funny enough, I was talking to my best friend about this the other day. I was telling her, I need to find a hobby because a hobby is not going online and putting things in my cart or saving things and then
online shopping.
It's an obsession.
Jesus.
So hobby, I'm still looking for one, and Ken, no, my hobby will not be chess.
Let us get into also growth. All right. You've always been one to speak your truth, whether persons like it or not. You've said it. Sometimes it can be a little rough. I've experienced it. It's a little rough, but it's the truth nonetheless.
I show my love for my friends by gently bullying them.
Mighty God, she said it. You heard it here first.
The second time since yesterday I've had to say that, actually.
Mighty God. But I love that about you, because as much as we want it to be a very common factor, it is not. Persons don't tell you the truth, they sugarcoat it because they think that is what you wanted to hear. Why did you start doing that? Or how has it benefited you? Do you see that your friendships and your relationships have grown because of that? How do you maneuver when persons get offended because of it? And how do you overcome it?
How I got to that point, I feel like I've always been like that. And it's probably because of my parents. Like, I've always been encouraged to speak my truth. I mean, of course, with my parents, it had to be a little bit, had to be a little more subtle. But as I grew older, I realized that they accepted me for just being me, and so I was just able to speak my truth. And it really has benefited me because I have learned through that, who can really handle my personality, because I'm going to be honest, I am not for everybody. I'm not for everybody, and I like people.
And you shouldn't be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't mean to offend people or anything like that when I speak my truth, or it's not meant to even deter people from trying to be my friend. But I mean, it has shown me like who my real friends are. For example, like let's say, for example, you, Laura. I mean, you're similar. You speak your truth. And well, if it offends, it's the truth. And that's also it for me. I appreciate people who are like that because I know that they're not goofing around. They're not trying to just make me feel good or anything. And I believe, that's why I've become a strong woman. And like I said, my personality is my personality is my personality. I'm not finding a word to describe it. But I am a nice person.
You are.
So once you get around that rough exterior, you'll realize that I really am a nice person. I genuinely love friends. I love connections. But I know, how they say that some people are around you just for what you can do for them. I've met my fair share of those people, and in being able to express myself and just making people know how I feel, I've learned the people who are around me, not because of what I can do for them or what opportunities they'll get from being around me, but people who are around me because they genuinely love me. And, shout out to my friends who are still here because I appreciate and I love my friends genuinely, and I'll go to bat for them.
Yes. So I know that you started a foundation. Is that what it is?
No. Mighty Minds?
Yes.
No, Mighty Minds is actually an educational services company.
Okay.
But probably you think it's a foundation because we do some I want to say pro bono. Is pro bono only for like lawyers and doctors?
No, just
not. With the pro bono work, I want to say, Mighty Minds is a full educational services company. So we do tutoring services.
Right.
We do chess coaching. We do piano. Different areas, exam preparation.
Okay.
Pretty much. But from time to time, we'll give free classes to persons.
So is there anything in the education system that you would love to shift or change? I know that what you've started, the Mighty Minds, it's a well-rounded institution, so to say. So was it started because you wanted to see a change, or is there a change that you want to see in that industry?
Well, Mighty Minds started during COVID, simply because
shout out to COVID.
Shout out to COVID, and COVID provided a lot of opportunities. I ain't gonna lie. It did a lot of damage, but for the persons who really took advantage of COVID, COVID did some good. It started just because somebody just called me one day and said, a friend of mine is looking for a tutor for their sister in grade 6. Would you be willing to do it? And I was like, I have some free time, why not? And then, Ken and I were talking about it, and, Ken is an engineer, but I've always seen him teaching, and he does such a good job at it. So I was like, let's do something. And that's how it started. And it started getting clients and all of that. And I was like, okay, looks like I need to register a business. And so that's how that started. And then, coming up this year, we're starting a kindergarten in September. In July.
What?
So we started with summer.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What? Wait.
True, yes.
That's amazing.
So the kindergarten is because, of changes that I'd like to see, with kindergarten education. I mean, I've been to a couple of countries, teaching in kindergartens and so there's just such a difference that I see with their curriculum and just how they teach. And I'm like, I really feel like Jamaica needs some of this. And I know there are schools who do it, but I believe in the total man. The total man being that person who, when you finish school, you're fully rounded. I benefited from that because, I've been to church and I was so involved in everything. And my mother and my father used to make sure that I did this and I did that. They kind of pushed me outside of my comfort.
A whole university, church, mercy.
Exactly. Don't sleep on Sabbath school. Very important.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like, especially for our kindergartners, they're just so used to this routine curriculum, this kind of mundane pencil and paper, inside of a school walls kind of thing. And COVID showed us that that's not the only way of teaching. And so, that's kind of what we're doing with our curriculum. But aside from that, something that I'd like to see change in education is just equity in education. Because, from an economic standpoint, if you have an educated society, then naturally your society is going to be better.
Naturally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, not only just preparing our students to stay here locally, but preparing them to go anywhere across the world because we are educating global citizens. And seeing equity in education and just opportunities that will exist for not only rich kids,
Yes.
but right across the board.
Yes.
That's something that I definitely want to change in education. And, that's part of a project I'm working on right now with my full-time job.
That's really good. Commendable. Give us your handle on Instagram so that we can just tell our listeners.
At Leonie H. Smith and at Mighty Minds JA.
Okay, great. Thank you. So you were mentioning that you traveled and you were noticing the differences in the education system with the kindergarten schools, grades, and all of that. How important is it for us to step out of our comfort zone or country and seek information outside? And how do we apply when we return?
For me, I'll always say that it's super, super important, whatever opportunity you get to step outside your country, step outside your parish, even to go somewhere else and experience life somewhere else. It's always an excellent opportunity. For one, you'll be immersed into a whole new culture going elsewhere. There may be culture shocks here and there, but every single place you go, it's an opportunity for you to learn something. And so, of course, once you get back, there's so much that you will have to share, especially if you live in a country like Jamaica, a developing country, a third world country, and you move to a first world country, and you experience that, that's why also persons don't come back. Because they're like, there's no way I'm going to experience this. Just being able to, for example, when I was in China, being able to order groceries from home. I never had to leave home. I could order groceries, I could order clothes, everything you order on Taobao will come at least in 3 days. You can order just about anything and it comes to your doorstep. And, we saw some of that coming in COVID, but it's not available in all areas in Jamaica, for example. So seeing things like that and trying to integrate that sort of knowledge, back into your country. But like I said, it needs to change from the top, because there are just so many barriers to being able to implement things like this. I mean, as a small person, just getting a loan from a bank is such a hassle. So, you may want to do it. I'll use China again as an example. In China, you don't ever have to walk around with money. All you need is your bus card if you're planning to take the bus, or a train ticket, or your bus card for the train if you're planning to use the subway. And you use your phone to purchase everything through WeChat or through Alipay. And everybody has it, you just swipe all over the place. You go to the supermarket, you don't need your credit card or your debit card, you just use your phone to pay for stuff. And that just makes it so much easier. I mean, when I came home, it was an adjustment because I was not used to walking around with money. So it was an adjustment.
And it's even hard to get the money. The ATMs are down.
Exactly.
What is going on? Yeah.
So, for me, there's so much as young people especially, and, being digital natives, that we can use to effect change here locally, but the change really has to start from the top.
So how receptive do you think the integration of the new teaching styles will be for us as Jamaicans?
For our generation and beyond, I'd say, very receptive. Mm-hmm. But for older persons, the older generations, like maybe not the one before me, but the one before that. Mm-hmm. And I am I'm a millennial.
Yes.
Am I not right? Yes. So maybe not the one before me, but before that, it's, we're not very receptive to change. I mean, even just speaking with educators in the classroom, while I was in the classroom and just, suggesting changes, and persons were just like, but it worked this way. Yeah. We kind of have this mindset, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Yeah. And we don't realize that it is broken. Or if it's not broken, it cracks. It getting there, it getting to that point where it's going to be broken. So why not fix it before it gets broken? Why not try to upgrade yourself before your skills become obsolete? And in COVID, we saw the effects of that, because we had teachers in COVID who were not able to adapt to the new change, and so they became so frustrated. I mean, I had to talk to some of those teachers, through my job, and I realized that, quite a number of them, they were burnt out, not because they had to be teaching from home, but because they never know how to use Google Classroom, because they didn't know the different interactive tools that are available online that they could just use to make their lessons just as fun and as engaging as they would in a regular classroom. You had teachers who were saying, why we just can't just take the picture and send it through WhatsApp? Well, because you won't have any interaction with the kids. Remote learning is not about you being so distant from the kids, but distanced, but still at their fingertips.
Yeah.
And so, it was just so interesting seeing all that and just realizing how persons were just reluctant to the change. And we saw, unfortunately, I think we saw the effects of that in the grades that we got, from our external examinations and from the standardized examinations. And it really is a shame, to be honest. And, definitely we have to do something about that.
Leonie, you spoke about educational tools and resources that you would have used during the pandemic to assist with transitioning from the traditional learning space to a somewhat unconventional way of learning. For the teachers who are listening, what educational tools or resource can you recommend that will enhance the teaching and learning experience?
One of the things that, kids especially love is interactive games and activities. And so you have, different tools that you can use. You have quizzes, you have Kahoot, in Canva, you can create different tools to use in class. Canva is the plug. Yes. I mean, in Google itself, in the Google suite of products, you have different tools that you can integrate and use. You're able to use Prezi, for example, to do interactive presentations. I'll give you an example. I remember one time we were doing, because some persons feel like, it's only through PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, we can share PowerPoints. And I was doing a training session because, Mighty Minds does training sessions for teachers. And I was showing them, we were talking about the mindset of the 21st century educator. And my presentation was not in PowerPoint. The regular PowerPoint was a PowerPoint presentation, but not in Microsoft PowerPoint. And so at the end, when I was taking questions, one teacher was like, I just wanted to know, how did you get your PowerPoint to look so interactive? How are you doing all of these things, dancing on the screen and whatever? How you do that in Microsoft? And I was like, well, I'm not using Microsoft, I'm using Prezi. It's another tool that you can use in your class. And so it became another presentation, how to use Prezi. And, for teachers who want to know, they'll go out there and they'll find different things. And I mean, it's interactive tools, and another good one, a really cool one, is Mentimeter as well. Just to check, do I call it a temperature check. For example, you can ask them questions, have them write things, and all of that, and it pops up on the screen and it looks really nice. Similar to Kahoot, where they see their grades floating on the screen and they get excited. But for this one, like at the beginning of a lesson, you may ask, how are you feeling today? And it starts popping up in bubbles. Once they enter the Menti code, it starts popping up in bubbles, and they see it being displayed on the screen.
When it comes to your comfort zone, how much out of that zone did you have to jump when it came to starting Mighty Minds?
It's never easy, just like stepping out of your comfort zone to do something new, or just doing something new on a whole. Starting a business is something, it's a big deal, and especially as an entrepreneur, it's riding on you, and I remember when I was trying to grow Mighty Minds, I was talking to one of my friends, big up yourself, Zara. I was talking to Zara, and because she does content creation, and she was saying, Lee, you have to let people see us so that they know there's a face behind Mighty Minds. And I was like, what? I have to do what? So I don't have to put myself out there to say, oh, hey, I'm the owner of Mighty Minds. I was not excited about that. And so that was a huge jump for me. Wow. But I remember having a conversation with Ken earlier this year, when I decided I was going to do all of this. And I was just like, this is the year where I need to see what Mighty Minds can become. I'm going to put my all into it. I'm going to go all out. And I just going to do the work. And I just going to trust God for the increase. Because that's just my little thing, You do the work and you return your tithe and you trust God for the increase. And that's just what I'm doing. It's way out of bounds, but out there without fear.
Yes. What boundaries do you set with others, family, friends, strangers, loved ones? How do you protect yourself from getting either too emotional, too angry? What measures are in place?
Boundaries. Like, I am big on boundaries. I don't let everybody in.
Yeah.
And it's fine if everybody does not want to let me in, because I understand boundaries and I respect boundaries. Even though, funny enough, I'm listening to this book, Boundaries, by Dr. Henry Cloud. Big up Zara again.
Yeah.
He sent me the book. Big up Zara and Zan, because Zan sent it to Zara and Zara sent it to all the church girls.
The link.
Right? And, just from it, I'm just really learning that, what you've been doing is something good. And you need to do more of setting boundaries. I set boundaries because I want to protect my space. Not everybody is invited.
Yeah.
And because I don't want everybody around me. And at the same time, protecting my peace, so I don't get overly emotional and I don't get upset, stuff like that. That is tested when you're working with people,
other humans.
That's tested every single day.
Mighty God.
But one of the things that I've learned to do is just separate, for example, work from home. So when work is done, work is done. So if work ends at 5:30, I won't take a work call after 5:30 unless somewhere is burning down. It's kind of different as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Building a business, you kind of have to take that work off
at 10 o'clock.
You're right. But even so, setting clear boundaries from early out so that, for example, parents know that at a certain time, if I don't answer your call, you send me an email or send me a text.
Right.
Because lack of planning on your part does not mean an emergency on my part. So even if you forgot to book a
lack
session
of planning
on your part
doesn't mean
an emergency on my part. So even if you forgot to book that session and you want to book it now, send me an email or send me a text because business opens tomorrow. And it really has helped. I'm still in the process of refining that space now as an entrepreneur, now running a business and all of that, because it's different from at work where at work I'm just kind of like, well, after 5:30 that's it, I'm not doing it unless I absolutely have to. But I'm still learning how to do that. It's a process. It's a process, and everything will work for everybody. The boundaries I set may not be the same boundaries that you set, but you have to find what works for you. Protect your mental health, protect your peace, protect your space, and understand that, if persons are eating away at your peace of mind, I always say, if you cost me my peace of mind, you're too expensive. I can't afford it. That's to go.
Can't afford it, babe.
That's to go.
Now, I appreciate your honesty and I appreciate you forthcoming with that, because a lot of persons don't know how to either, because we have come into a place of a please mentality. So I have to please everyone because either the longevity of the friendship or the longevity of the relationship trumps the quality. So we focus on more always being friends, or we have known each other, have been working together for 10 years. So we just have to stick through till the dying day, till that second coming comes, and not so. Protect your peace, protect yourself, build that boundary.
Very important.
Talk to us about the qualities that you would want someone to mention when they say Leonie Smith. And are you working on those? If the qualities are not there, are you working on those?
When somebody mentions me, I want them to say that I'm trustworthy, because I want people to know that my word is my bond.
Yeah.
So if I say I'm gonna do something, I'll do it. And if I say I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it either. So that's definitely very important to me. It's important too that person appreciate that I work hard. So I'd always want them to mention my work ethic. I do work hard.
Yeah.
And I want persons to mention that I'm adventurous, I'm a fun lover, and that I'm just a down-to-earth person once you get to know me.
Yes. All right, that's understandable. In what areas would you like to be more truthful? What areas are we working on to be the best Lee?
I think I need to be more truthful about how much I can handle.
You're taking on the
I
world.
can handle. Yeah, because and it's something I was talking to a friend about the other day, because I keep on just like seeing things that I can do. I'm like, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. Or people will offer me opportunities and I'm like, okay. And then afterwards I look and say, I'm like, but your schedule don't really permit for it. You know, you're going to stretch yourself too thin.
Yeah.
So saying no, that's another way of protecting your peace. I need to say more no's just so I can focus on me. Because that was a problem that I had, because I had the idea of starting Mighty Minds post-COVID when I just came home. I didn't want to go back to the regular classroom. And I didn't because I was doing too much. You know, I accepted a job, and I'm not saying I'm not grateful for that. But I really feel like if I'd spent more time, you know, focusing on my business, you know, building my business and whatever, I'd be further than I am now.
Yeah.
So, and funny enough, a coworker said something to me the other day and it just really draped me. Like I can still feel the burns on my head. Because we were talking about, you know, opportunities and all of that. And she said to me, you know, Lee, it's one of the reasons why I don't accept every opportunity that people present to me. Because if it's not leading up to my future goal or my bigger goal, I just have to realize that even if it means more money, I'm going to have to deny it because it's not serving me.
Yeah.
Like, I never really thought about that, you know? Because when people offer you opportunity, you're just like, oh, you know, you feel nice because you're saying, they see that I can do this, for example, but how is it really serving you? Is it just serving them? And I was talking to one of my clients the other day and we were talking, we have this goals group thing going, and she was saying to me that, you know, Leonie, you really have to realize, I was sharing that, you know, I need to be more intentional about building out my business, building out who I want Leonie to be. And she said to me, Leonie, you know what you have to realize? You have to realize that you're a smart girl and people are always going to want you to do things. People see a lot of potential in you and you have to know when to say no. I'm like, all right, God, you said to me 2 times, hear you. May I learn how to say no? And so, you know, I've been saying more no's.
I understand what you mean. I would definitely have to know how to say no when it's not serving us. And it's not about selfishness. It's just about self-growth. Because if you don't grow, then you're going to feel so warped in whatever position you are. And it's not going to benefit you any at all. You're going to complain all the time. My current position is very draining. But I have to know that this podcast will help me, you know, meet people. It will help me develop my mind, be more open, write down my visions, my goals and all of that. My business will help me in different aspects as well. So you know that I have to serve Laura so that I can serve others. Because if you are an empty vessel,
you can't pour from an
empty vessel. It don't make sense.
I have to take care of you first.
What is the most important thing you've learned in your life? What was your life before learning it? And what is your life like after?
What's the most important thing I've learned in my life? I have to think about that one. You know, I'd say this season of my life, the most important thing I've learned is how to say no to everything. How to say no and setting clear boundaries. And, you know, as I've said earlier, you know, now I feel more at peace. I'm spending more time doing things that I love. And every single thing that I'm doing now, you know, my strategic goal, every single thing that I'm doing now is in line with my strategic goal. And it just feels so much more better, you know. I feel more grounded, I feel more centered. And that's very important for me.
Okay, so let us talk about Mighty Minds a little bit more. So you said that you're focusing now on building your business. What steps have you taken? What methods have you used to market, if any, that you are willing to share?
Well, a lot of what we used to depend on was word of mouth, you know, just persons sharing with other persons, and that worked. but to expand, we had to put some investment in it.
Right.
So of course, Instagram, Facebook, they allow you to do sponsored posts. They allow you to post stuff. I'm not as consistent as I want to be, because obviously I have so many other things managing. But I've tried to be more purposeful about posting stuff, getting the word out there, and just taking advantage of those sponsored posts.
Right.
What I can do, I just kind of ask the algorithm to do for me.
In building Mighty Minds, you would have had to meet certain criteria to become an education facility as well as with the kindergarten school. How difficult was it to meet those qualifications, especially to follow protocols, curriculums, and standards?
Well, to be honest, we're still going through that process, because it takes a lot, like you said, making sure that the school is up to standard. One of the things that's good is I'm actually partnering with someone who has actually done this before. So it makes it a little bit easier because they know what's expected. And so I can kind of follow their guidelines where that is concerned. But because I am an overthinker and I like planning for eventualities, it has taken, a whole heap of hours of sitting down at the computer, obsessing over what the criteria are, trying to figure out, all right, so what comes first? So, all right, so if I do this, then do this, then all right, I'm going to finish quick and I can move on to doing this. But of course, definitely, we're making sure that we cross all the T's and dot all the I's, because we're not trying to flop out here.
No.
Right.
We're not trying to flop out here.
How do you calm yourself as an overthinker though? Because you'd be in your head. I have a girlfriend that does that. You guys are in your head a lot, so you need quiet times. How do you manage? Right. What do you do? Look at her face. Wow.
When you figure out how to do it, tell me.
I'm not. I'm very chill.
Yeah, I know. I mean, one of the things that I have decided to do is to talk to somebody, like pay somebody, a professional, to help me be more grounded. Because, you can't have God and a therapist.
Yeah.
So one of the things, I've actually already reached out to somebody and I'm just like, listen, there's just a lot of things happening in my life. I just need to talk about it. I just need somebody who can just calm me and just give me some strategies that I can use to not overthink all the time. Something that has helped too, because I've been doing better at it. I've been doing better because even now, I probably wouldn't be here because I'd be like, Laura, I know you want me to come, but I kind of have to stay home and make sure that I figure out, what's going to happen this week for Mighty Minds, for example. So I'm doing better at it. Not as I'm not here thinking about it, but I am doing better at it, something
that's it, baby. My God.
Right. And, something that's really helping me is just taking time to just breathe and Bible journaling. I am intentional about, what Bible plans I do. Big up YouVersion because they have a lot.
Yes, they do.
So I look for the Bible app, the Bible studies that meet my current situation, and I'll go through them and then I'll just write out my prayer to God. I remember, when I was going through a really stressful situation, that's when I learned how to Bible journal, and by writing out my prayers, I learned how to pray. I remember when I was in Panama City? Yes, man. Yeah, man. So that's when I learned how to do that. So now, I'll just sit down. I set time every day, whether before bed or I'll do breakfast with God, and I will just sit down and I'll just write it all out, and I'll just pour over the pages. And when I'm done, I just close it and I say, okay, God, your will be done. Even though I might be back with later trying to help you, but your will be done, and help me to be a better person about leaving you to do what you say you will do. I remind myself about things like that. So, you have some persons who they will do positive self-talk. They'll say things like, you're beautiful, you're great. My positive self-talk is just repeating the promises of the Bible. Just thinking about stories of persons who went through really crazy times and God was there for them. I'm like, what if God can do that?
Yes.
I feel like He can do this too.
Yeah.
And it's not as I don't think God or anything like that, but it's just because I like when things happen fast and God is not on my time, none at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have to remind myself that, listen, even if it doesn't work out, something better is coming. And I feel like my life experiences has really done, God has really set me up for this phase of my life because a lot of things never work out where I wanted it to.
So how do you accept that things did not work out?
I think
Was it difficult?
it was enough ball my ball. Enough ball my ball. Lord knows. But I feel like every time something didn't work out, something better worked out.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, I have to big up my praying parents because I feel like, listen, what's his name? Agent Sasko have a song. Mama pray?
Yeah.
Lord Jesus. Listen, I love the song because I just feel like it just speaks to my situation. But Mama pray. I have praying parents, I have praying friends, I have really supportive family members. My big brother, he's always there, and my husband is really supportive, and that really helps.
What is a significant turning point in your life, and how has it impacted the way you make decisions or react to certain situations?
A significant turning point. I think about when I was in the US, I was waiting for my work visa to come through, and things just never worked out how I wanted it to. I was in the US for 2.5 years. Couldn't come home because the visa wasn't approved. Didn't want to leave because I never want to leave, and then the visa gets approved.
Okay.
But through that experience, learning how to journal, and I really feel like God never sent me to the US for the job, even though I thought that's what He said before, because the opportunity just opened up to teach in an Adventist school. And but being in that school and teaching the kids how to pray, and at the same time learning myself how to pray, every day going home and griping to God, I call it. And I remember one night I was there and I was griping and I was obsessing over, God, like every day I come home, come check the mailbox, and the letter from USCIS is not there. Like, I'm tired of this. I want to go home, go see my family and whatever. I can't see them. And I heard it really distinct the night. I always hear people talk about God talking to them. It never happened to me. But I remember just hearing a voice saying, have I ever failed you? And that was it for me. I put on a lot of weight because I stress eat. I looked like an ogre. And that was like a turning point for me because, don't laugh. Because after that I was like, all right, I need to get up and I need to do something. I need to stop just staying here and obsessing over the things that are not, when God is doing so many other things for me. And that was a turning point for me. And every time I feel like I want to obsess over something, I keep on hearing that voice, have I ever failed you? And it really helps. And that's why I keep on repeating the promises of the Bible, because that's what really kept me during that time. I'd write out the promises of the Bible. And funny enough, I threw away that journal because I didn't want to, it was a really low point in my life, and I don't want to go back there, and I don't want a reminder of how far I went. So I threw it away. When I got to China, I threw away the journal because I was like, you know what? I'm turning over a new leaf. I don't want to remember all of these stories. I don't want to go back and read them. And because every time I go back and read them and cry, and I was like, oh, God was doing so much for me, and I was beating myself up. Kind of like if maybe the children of Israel could go back now and read the Bible and see everything that happened and all the ways God came through for them. Exactly. So it was kind of like my history book, all my faults, and I just threw it out because I was like, you know what? I don't want to go back to that place, but I always have that reminder, have I ever failed you? So I know that just rely on the promises of the Bible.
Okay. All right. So your support system, your circle, how important is it for you to have a circle? How does it aid in your development as a person, whether personally, professionally, or on your Christian journey with the Lord?
Having a circle is very important. It's important because no man is an island. You can't do everything by yourself.
Right.
You know, there was a time when I thought that I could handle everything by myself, and I felt bloop on my face. And that kind of taught me, you know, you need support. So having the right friends around you, you know, you may not get it from family, but family is not only people who share the same DNA as you. You can have friends who are family. Like, you know, my friends, I call them family because I know they will go to bat for me. I know if I call them and say, you know, such and such, whatever, they're going to be there. And so I take that very personal. Having, for example, a supportive partner. You know, one of the things for me when I was choosing a husband, it had to be somebody who I knew would always be there. Because that was very important for me, because at the end of the day, you know, when friends gone and all that, who won't have my back? Yeah. And I also have to have his. So, you know, a lot of women will say, oh, you know, I'm independent, I don't need a man. Foolishness. I am an independent woman. You know, I work good money. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm out there doing the do, but I still need my man.
Mercy.
Because I afraid a lizard, for example. I have some buckle where I have to open.
Yes.
I just have some things like, for example, like my husband is chill. The world will be burning down, and my husband is just like, all right, so now what are they doing? And it's not that he doesn't care, but I don't know how. And it was something that I really fell in love with about him. He enjoys life. Like, he just really enjoys life. And like, I feel like my intensity matched with his cool as a cucumber kind of personality. It really balanced each other out. So, you know, having a support system, having supportive parents for me has been very important. You know, I mentioned my brother, how I am with my parents and my brother, because my brother is 9 years older than me. So, of course, you know, he has seen a lot more than me in terms of life and whatever. He's the type of person I'll call just to run certain things by him. And if my brother said, for example, when I was buying my car, I said to him, you know, I went buy a Tida. That was in 2015. And he said, no, don't buy no Tida. Tida, he said, Tida Axe. That's exactly what he said. And he said to me, you know, buy a certain type of car and whatever. And I just trust him. And I said, okay, then fine, I'll just do that. Because I know if he tell me to do it, it's because he do research on it and he know a lot about it. And how I've always been just a type of person who, I just tell my parents and my brother when I'm going to do stuff. So let's take, for example, when I was going to university, they thought that I was going to be going into, after first year of sixth form, I'd be going into upper sixth. But I applied for UTech. I never tell nobody. I just applied for UTech and I just figured if I got in, that they would have my school fee. And so I applied and then I got the acceptance and I just told them that, well, the school fee is X amount and school starts at X time. Wow. I think they just always knew I was just that type of person. Like, I just tell them that, you know, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they just figured it out. And I got enrolled for school and all of that. That's I think my mother say I've always been an independent person because I took a whole 15 minutes to be born. I was just out of there. She never need to push, help me do nothing. I was just like,
the word. What?
I'm ready to get out, and I was just out. So I always knew you were going to be that person. Wow. I think they were prepared for it.
This is the perfect game for us right now.
They named me Leonie because my name means lioness. So
yes, it does.
Just out here.
Come true. Roar. I appreciate that for true. We're gonna play a little game, and as an educator, I hope this does not embarrass you, but such is life. So we're gonna step right into the hot parts. You're gonna pronounce it. Pronounce it and try to define the word.
This looks like cataclysm. That's what it looks like. and say, you know, this is why my other half should be here, because I'm pretty sure he'd do a much better job at this than me, because he read dictionary.
Jeez,
But no, I feel so no well if a big word. He must read dictionary.
one more time.
Girl, why you embarrassed?
I'm just trying to hear it out.
Catachresis?
Catachresis.
Not too far.
Catachresis.
And what do you think the definition is?
The definition. First of all, when I look at the word, the first thing that comes to mind is cataract. But I know it have nothing to do with that. No, that's the first thing that comes to mind. What does this mean? I don't know. Yeah, tell me a sentence.
When writing, the author uses a catachresis when he places stuffed with stock. When writing, the author uses a catachresis when the author used a catachresis when he placed stuffed with stock.
When he placed stuff with stock. Uses a catachresis.
Or another one is Shakespeare. This is a giveaway. Shakespeare misused words in his work, with one big example being the catachresis in the line, "His complexion is perfect gallows."
Alright, so it sounds like it has something to do with literature, has something to do with writing. Does it have something to do with like them using their poetic genius, or to kind of what's the word I want to use? It's like making grammatical errors.
Absolutely right.
Okay.
Strained or paradoxical use of words either in error or deliberately.
Right.
This one is a tongue twister. You're going to read it 1 time slow, 3 times fast, under 10 seconds, without any mistakes.
Suppose I'm a first bad.
The timer, to read it 1 time, you get familiar, kind of.
The sixth sick, sheep's sick, sheep's sick. The sixth sick, sheep's sick, sheep's sick. The sixth sick, sheep's sick.
Right now? 3 times fast on 10 seconds. You get back to it, not more. Go.
The sixth sick, sheep's sick. The sixth sick, sheep's sick.
Oh, stop. Yeah, we're done. All right. Good job.
Was it really?
Well, as you know, the name of the podcast is the Unrealistic Box podcast, right? And one of our last questions that we do to our guests is ask them, what is an unrealistic dream that you've had? Unrealistic clearly to the public, because it is very much attainable for you. But what is a dream or a goal that you know will come to fruition, that it's probably very terrifying to you, but it's gonna come through?
Building a full-time academy.
Really?
Yeah. That's the goal. You know,
Yeah.
that's the goal over the next 5 years. I want to say it's ambitious and it's aggressive, but
Yeah.
how I know it will come true is because, like I said, you know, I trust God for the increase. And I remember when I was a girl, my mom used to always buy these encyclopedias for me. And maybe if I was reading more of them, I would see these words. I'd always look at the pretty pictures, and I'd always be looking at different places across the world. And I always wanted to visit these places. And I always thought it was unattainable because I'm not born rich. You know, my parents, they have done well in life.
Yeah.
I was no rich person, you know.
Yeah.
Rich people are really doing certain things.
Yeah.
But I've visited quite a number of those places. And so I remember when I went to Malaysia and I was at the Twin Towers, Petronas Towers. I remember I was thinking to myself, well, look at it, you know, I saw Twin Towers in books and on TV, and it didn't look like a nice place that I wanted to go to. And here I am. And so if God could do that, I am just, saying to myself that continue working hard. If I maintain my aggressive work ethic, anything is going to be possible. So
everything is going to be possible.
Exactly. So, wow. Look out for Mighty Mind.
Look out for Mighty Mind. I love it. I really do love it. What do you have anything to say to our listeners? Anything positive for the upcoming week?
What I'd want to leave with the listeners is just to be intentional about the goals that they set.
Yes.
Remember not to say yes to every opportunity. Set your strategic goals and make sure that every single opportunity that you accept in some way aligns with that goal.
Yes, I love that. I really do love that. Leonie Smith, people, follow her at Leonie Smith.
Leonie H. Smith.
H. Smith on Instagram, and Mighty Minds JA on Instagram as well. They're going places. You want to jump on this. You're going to have to send your kids there. All right? This is the future of Jamaica. Hello? Thank you so much, Leonie. I really do love talking to you every single time, and you've made this another one for the records. I wish you all the best in your endeavors. I wish you nothing but blessings, because it definitely will come. And I just love that you're honest with yourself and open for growth.
Thanks for having me. It really was a pleasure being here.
Yeah, sugar.
Big up you guys for doing this.
Mighty.
Really great initiative, and I have enjoyed being here.
This is Bye from the Unrealistic Box podcast. Follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Talawa Productions. And we will see you next time. Remember to live your own dream.